question. What would you think if you read in your history textbook that the Titanic never actually sank? Or that the Roman Empire never fell? Of course, everyone knows that those things aren't true, but just imagine if your history teacher tried to teach you that they were. Take a look at this picture. As you can see, the two men on the couch represent the Ministry of Education, Science, and Technology. Behind these two men, there is a man in Japanese military claiming that he wasn't the one who was tied up and beat the history textbook. But in fact, Japanese did do it. The history that Japanese people read is subjective and inaccurate, just like saying that the Titanic never sank. My topic for today is the biased history in Japanese textbooks. So, why would Japan want to change history? First, take a look at this picture. As you can see, a strong-looking American soldier is protecting a skinny Japanese soldier from the three men behind the bushes. These three men represent the countries that were harmed by Japan during World War II: China, South Korea, North Korea, respectively. After the World War II, Japan was occupied by the Allied forces led by the U.S. Because of the U.S.'s strong occupation and help, Japan began to feel a great sense of nationalism, which helped them justify distorting history, so all Japanese people would feel proud of their country and not feel ashamed of the horrible things they did during World War II. Unlike the European countries that convinced Germany to correct all the factual errors, Japan said they were aware of the objections, but asserted their decision to use biased history is based on educational considerations. There are countless facts that Japan has distorted, but I've narrowed it down to two most eminent incidents. The first is Japanese military comfort women. During World War II, Japanese armies captured a bunch of women to be their sexual slaves. Mrs. Park, who was once a military comfort woman, witnessed the harsh environment while she was held captive. She said that many women were deceived by the Japanese army's claim that they would get plenty of food and money. In truth, they had to eat in bed and have unwanted babies. She also declared that many women were killed or sent to other countries' military if they're not needed by the Japanese anymore. However, in spite of Mrs. Park and other women's countless claims, Japan's Ministry of Education allows the Fushosha Publishing Company to downplay the idea of Japanese comfort women. Fushosha Publishing Company is notorious for leaving out or greatly modifying the significant events from Japan's history. The second incident I'm going to talk about is the policy of adopting a Japanese name. During the Japanese imperialism, the Koreans have to adopt a Japanese name. According to the Fushosha textbook, after China-Korea War, the Koreans intentionally converted their names to Japanese to Japanize themselves. It is true that adopting a Japanese name started out as voluntary. However, when only 7% of Koreans adopted a Japanese name, the government started to force the names upon them. If they rejected this policy, the students of the family would be beaten up and forced to beg their parents to adopt a Japanese name. The adults of the family would be fired from their jobs and ostracized in every public and private corporation. Some families would be supplied food, and the fathers would be sent away to do hard labor. Fortunately, there are a lot of people and institutions that have contributed a lot in reversing the biased history. For example, Asian citizens, including some Japanese, have got together and made a group called Asia Peace and History Education. This group has contributed a lot in reversing the biased history. However, there are still many things to be done. What we have to do is advertise. We should let the world know what an embarrassing thing Japan is doing and what factual errors should be reversed. By encouraging all of the people in the world to fight for the right history, Japan will soon admit their wrongdoing, like in this picture. Thank you.